first question will be for Minnesota.
Hi, Adam. Curious to get your thoughts on the defense's performance tonight, but also just basically through 9 practices. I guess, do you have a sense of the identity of this defense? Things that you guys are, I guess, what could be strengths for the group?
I thought tonight, we got done a lot of good things. We go in with rep counts for certain groups of people, opportunities to tackle. I thought that showed up. Some really good, but some really poor. I thought the guys that we put out there with, certain rep counts, went out there and played hard early. And I really like the sideline energy as, some of the other guys rotated in. I think our depth is showing up in camp at this point. Usually you get pretty thin just with banged bodies. But I think we've recruited and evaluated really well, which now when you're getting in these first scrimmages, and usually at the end of the scrimmage, you've got some guys in there that, have probably played, they're just kind of taking some reps. They'll be scout team players. I think we've developed a lot of depth on both sides of the ball that, even when you're going down to that third group, you've still got some players that, you're trying to evaluate. You're always trying to grow each player, but you're really still in evaluation mode with some of these guys and, how they're going to help, where they're going to help, limited roles, whatever that is. And so, through 9, we think we're growing. I think our guys are definitely giving the amount of energy that we ask from them. There's not a lot of repeat mistakes right now. Usually early to meetings and prepared. It's just continuing to press the execution at a high level. And that probably goes for both sides of the ball, but on defense, especially in my evaluation.
Next will be Irish FL.
Coach Norvell mentioned a goal line stand that the defense came up with. What did you see out of that group? And I mean, obviously that's, such a huge positive thing when you could see that happen. What'd you take away from it?
Yeah, I really like our identity down there. I think we've, started to draw those lines that, it takes a lot of guts when, usually they get down there because a play was given up. And I think that's what, I think a run broke and, it somehow, some way get down there. And, there were 4 plays inside the 5 and the last one come down. I think there was a third of the 2-yard line. There was a fourth from the 1-yard line. And the guys did a good job of standing up. It was kind of a collective stop, with a lot of different bodies in there. And, it was good to see. I think anytime you're trying to build identities, when everybody in the world knows they're going to run the football, you have to stop it and they've got to get a yard to go. I think that says a lot about that group in that moment. And I was proud of them tonight to stand up and do that. And it's going to need to be continued.
This will be Christy.
Hey, Adam, you and Pat both spoke in the preseason about wanting to generate more takeaways as a defense. Coach said that there weren't any this evening that he recalled, but in general, through 9 practices, how do you feel the defense has done in that department?
Well, we're catching the ball, and I think that's a big deal when you're able to get your hands on it. I can't remember us dropping many right now, so our hands are there. We're making the plays, which is a great thing. Still want to see more, takeaways from when the ball is possessed. I think we're picking the ball off well, but we got to create more fumbles. Obviously, in hindsight, when you're playing against your guys, you don't want to turn the ball over or between Yak and Ron and Mike, those guys do a great job of coaching ball security. But, through punch tackling, through some SWAT rips or some pile rip outs, that was something we emphasized as we went into the scrimmage today to make sure those attempts are there. So we got to keep working at. We want to create more. We need to create more. And, but I have been pleased, especially with the back end of getting where we've been in position to make our plays. We have been coming down with the football, and that's something that's got to continue.
Will be Cassie from the Democrat.
Yeah, how you doing today, Adam? Obviously praising Jamie Robinson from this in the safety room. How have Ashlyn Barker and Kevin Noles kind of done through the first 9 practices, 8 practices, and today, in adjusting to the level, especially today with the game with the scrimmage?
Yeah, I'm really pleased with the young group. And, I think we've got to continue to push Shaheem and Akeem to play to their ability. I think they both have the ability to be really good ACC safeties. I think Kevin brings some real confidence. He's got great speed for that position, a really good feel and sense. But I'm really excited about what KJ Kirkland, Ashman Barker, and Conrad Hussey have done here through this first week and a half. I think they all have a chance to help us in some role, whether it's through depth, whether it's through rotations, whether it's through special teams. I think there's thumbs up on all three of those guys. We're still, as we go, what are the difference between the three? How consistent will that person be? As you're looking for that fourth and fifth guy, you're looking for consistency, guys that you can count on, guys that will be in the right positions to make their plays. In our defense, that should be a position. Jamie showed it last year, that you should be a playmaker, and we got to continue to get that. I think we've got a good group, but it's definitely a group that we got to continue to push the execution and the production. A lot of key work goes into that spot, but we've showed the ability to feature playmakers in that spot. And I think we have guys that can do it. It's just, we got to continue to grow those young guys, but I'm super excited about all three of those. And I think the move of Kevin has really helped our defense. He'll still play some nickel for us, but I think, he'll bring a skill set there that will really help and impact Akeem and Shaheem.
Next week, Kurt Weiler from Osceola.
Hey, Adam. Josh Farmer is somebody who Coach Norvell mentioned kind of making an early impact tonight, especially with the news last week about Daryl Jackson and his waiver. How have you seen him kind of rise to the occasion of knowing kind of what his role is going to need to be in that room this fall?
This is the year for Josh. And when I say that, usually that third year of defensive tackles, you guys have seen his body develop and his strength. And, now he is a, major Division I Power 5 defensive tackle from a strength, size, physicality. Now he's been in the system for 3 years, so the technique is there. He understands the defense. Now it's about letting it fly and making sure he's playing as consistent, as hard as he can. But this is the year that Josh takes that step. And, I know he's got the willingness to want to. He's got high expectations for himself. And, he's going to be a critical piece because we've got to be absolutely dominant inside for us to be the defense we need to be. We've got to build that wall, stopping the run, and it starts up front with that position.
Next will be Brandon Stout.
Yeah, Adam, I know you guys know what you have in Jared Verse and to some extent as well with Patrick Payton. Curious to get your thoughts on the other pass rushers or edge defenders, see how those guys are performing so far through camp.
Yeah, I'm excited. Gilbert has really come on this week. I thought this was his best week since he's been here. Counting through spring, through summer, and now, every time I watch him go through drill work, I always tell JP that there's so much in that player. And now it's, our job to continue to get what we see in drill work throughout the game. And I think that stuff's starting to show up. He's playing faster. He's playing lower. But he's got the size, speed, physical elements, all of it. And he's played a lot of football. He's just got to play at our level and our standard. And, he's got all the willingness to do it. We just got to continue to push it. But Byron Turner showed up tonight. He's always been somebody that I knew, he's got a high level of toughness. He can flat out run. He's finally been consistent with his body weight. He's healthy. He's stronger. He's somebody that we got to continue to, push, put in that situation. Right now he's our fourth guy, battling for reps with the third guy. And, I think he's got a chance. And then Jaden Jones is coming off of the injury. This has been the last couple of days. He's really starting to ramp up his rep count. I said the best part about tonight for him is that he was out there. There was a bunch of mistakes. He was really down on how he played, but we see the physical tools. It just, the success for him is that, he made it through the scrimmage and played a good amount of reps, and then we've got some other things that we're moving some other guys inside out there and, just trying to create the best packages for the situations. But, that's kind of our end group at this point.
This will be Aslan Hajimandi from Warchant.
Good evening, Coach. The news last week that Coach Norvell revealed to us earlier this week about Daryl not being eligible for the season. How does that change what you guys are trying to do up front, if anything at all? And then Braden Fisk, I know he was here in the spring, but the fact that you really were able to get your hands on him now and kind of let him loose, what have been your impressions of his ability and production?
Yeah, Braden's the real deal. I went out there, personally really get to know him and his family. I studied the film, and the evaluation really hit for us on how he would fit with us. And, he's got that intensity, that drive, to be better. He's a super selfless player. He's very grateful for being here, but he's going to be somebody that he's going to have a large role in this defense. He's somebody that can, he plays really hard. He's got great foot speed for a 300-pound player. Got to continue to play with a little bit better technique to be really what we want in the run game. But he'll be a problem for people on third downs. He'll be a problem for people in the run game because he will work to play the right way. He's just a great teammate. You can see him. I think he's got the respect of our guys because they watch how he works. And he plays 100 miles an hour. And, I think all the Seminole fans will really enjoy Braden Fisk and watching him play for us this year.
Next will be Jack Williams from Tallahassee Democrat.
Hey, Coach. Coach Norvell mentioned the sideline energy specifically on the defensive side of the ball tonight. Something like that, having a large presence in the game or playing an active presence in the game. How does something like that prep you for the season? I guess, how does it look? How does something like that help you guys, going forward, especially seeing it, be a large proponent in the scrimmage?
We control our energy and, we control our effort. And I think that's just not with the 11 guys on the field. And I think when you're building a team or a unit, I think together is always a main word that you're trying to push. And there's no selfless way to show that throughout a scrimmage or a game or a practice. And when you're out for the reps, instead of trying to gain air or your own composure, to get yourself back and pulling for your teammates and, coaching them and being part of the growth of the group. There's no better feeling when you run off the field than when your teammates are there to dirty you up or to join you. And I think that's something we promote. It's something that's not natural though. It's hard to, be there for your brothers or your teammates constantly when, you're out there and coming off of a series when you're tired. So I think if you build those habits now, next thing you know, that shows up during the season. So, it's something that we constantly promote. Very rarely, in unit meetings, when I show pictures of one individual, it's always group efforts. It's always togetherness. It's always making sure we're preaching it, showing it. Coaches need to act that way. Players respond that way. And, so I'm proud to see that group, being together. And, I thought, there were a number of guys who did a great job tonight. Kalen Deloach, for one, was, showed great energy and leadership on the sidelines. But it wasn't just him. Those guys that were out. Shaheen did a great job. I saw Fabian out there. I mean, they can go down the list, but, definitely something that, we preach, we want, and we got to continue to push.
Last one will go to Ira.
Chris Nee had a two-part question earlier, so I feel like I need to answer with one of my own real quick. When it comes to the backup linebackers, we know obviously we've all seen Tatum and Kalen and DJ. How did Omar and the other young linebackers look? And then also when it comes to tackling, college football has changed so much in terms of how much tackling you can actually do in practice. So is it almost to be expected a little bit that it would be a little rough early or where does it need to improve?
Yeah, it needs to improve by getting the guy on the ground more consistently. Jaheim Bell had one run that, he came up to me after the scrimmage and told me we need to work on tackling more. And I said, I appreciate his observations. Jaheim's one of my favorite. He's kind of a Jamie clone. And he's one of my guys that, I kind of try to put my arm around. But it was good to see him. Wasn't excited about how it played out. He took about 6 hits and kept going. But it was definitely something that, I think our tracking angles were good. And I thought and that's what you really get. But the finishing of the grit of running through ball carriers and shooting your arms through your hips, accelerate feet on contact. The best thing we can do is continue to try to make sure tracking continues, but just the toughness of the finish. And, we got to coach that. I think that'll be good for them to be able to see. Nobody likes to see that part of them show up. And so we'll make sure that there's a great cut up to emphasize that we got to do a better job finishing on top of people. And, whether it's through a sled, whether it's through the range, whether it's through just next scrimmage, trying to get ourselves ready, to go do that. I think there was another part there. Am I allowed to answer that? We go to the judges. How are we operating here? You didn't sound very excited about
You
that.
need to repeat it.
No, I've got it. I also got Chris's part still in my head. I don't know if I finished that one, but since I guess we're playing favorites here. So Ira, the linebackers, and OG got a little bit dinged up. He should be fine. So a little bit limited with him. But he showed enough. We're excited about that. Then we've got just a group of young guys that and AJ Cottrell's in that group too. He got a bunch of snaps today that he's shown a lot. Kid that walked on from Tampa Jesuit. So I think the kid Juice has done some good things. Blake showed up a couple times today. So Brian Courtney made a play or two. So there's that next group of backers that are getting a lot of snaps right now because of we've got some veteran players that we've got a good sense of. So that's still a work in progress though, Ira. That next tier of backers. I think Brian's really established himself in special teams, which means he'll have an ability to impact our team. We got to keep bringing him along at backer. And the rest of those freshmen, every rep is important to them right now.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.